What is best practice, and why is it so important to understand? In the earth-moving environment, equipment performs repetitive movements over and over, loading trucks, leveling stockpiles, or ripping rocky basements. Being able to reduce the time it takes to perform these tasks means you can increase your production. But by only focusing on production, we're only looking at one side of the equation. The path towards profitability requires a focus on production, but an equal focus on costs. This is where best practices come in. Let's look at an example in a real-world relatable scenario. If you've ever taken a long car trip and seen other drivers going about things differently, this will resonate.
Imagine 4 people, all starting a 500-kilometer journey together. They have identical rental cars and need to reach the same destination. Our travelers start this journey at the same time, in the same vehicles, and with the same amount of money to reach the same destination. Everything about these 4 journeys is the same, but we all know no 2 people are the same, especially when it comes to driving styles. One of these drivers will try to reach the final destination as quickly as possible. The second will prefer to stick to the speed limit, while the third will enjoy stopping along the way. And the fourth will challenge himself to be as economical and efficient as possible. Each driver has been given $100 to cover all their costs for the race: fuel, snacks, tolls, and so on. The small, relatively fuel-efficient 4-door hatchbacks have been paid for up front. Each car has a full tank when the race starts at noon. There are some fixed costs on this journey, at least $30 worth of tolls and any pit stops for fuel. We will assume that any natural wear and tear to the vehicles is covered by the rental fee. With cash in hand and a midday starting time, the drivers are challenged to meet 2 main objectives: reach City B and have money to spare. The first driver is interested only in winning the race. He must cross the finish line first. He speeds off down the highway at 20 kilometers an hour over the speed limit and is confident he will reach City B at least 45 minutes before the others. He decides not to have any rest stops and will refuel as quickly as possible. He knows that there are fixed costs along the way, but doesn't consider the increased variable costs of driving over the speed limit, increased fuel consumption, the possibility of speeding fines, and the risk of accident. Driver 2 is comfortable driving the speed limit. He doesn't want to push boundaries and has taken consideration of the second objective, arriving with some money left over. By keeping to the speed limits, his variable costs are kept within a manageable limit. His known fixed costs will be the same as driver 1, but it will take him longer to reach City B, even though he will get there in good time. He decides that he deserves a rest stop, which is safe and practical, and, using the $100, buys himself a snack and a cold drink. Driver 3 enjoys car trips. He will reach the speed limit sometimes, and at other times he will drive slower, taking in the scenery. He's not particularly concerned about the time, just in getting to the destination with some leftover money. Eventually. This type of driver is somebody who might stop twice, especially if there is a nice view or a decent place to eat. His fixed costs will be the same as the other drivers, but his variable costs will be higher than expected. Driver 4 is different. He's creative. If his objective is to reach City B as efficiently as possible and return a considerable amount of cash, this requires innovation. Why should he accept the vehicle he has been given? Perhaps there's a way to save more money simply by changing the fixed costs up front. This is the competitor who goes back to the rental company and rents a more fuel-efficient car for a similar rate, knowing that he will save a lot more on fuel than the others. He will drive at the speed limit, stopping only for safety rests, and he will eat the lunch he packed for himself. He won't arrive first, but he certainly won't arrive last. His fuel consumption will be lower, and he won't have to fill up as much. All of this adds up to more cash in his pocket at the end of the journey. What we have here is a demonstration of bad practice, good practice, and best practice.